Welcome to Rambam Le'Yuna. There's a fascinating Rambam. Peirik Vov and Hilchos Beis Habechirah. It's a very well-known Rambam. The Rambam says like this. In the last three halachas, he says that Shleima HaMelech, when he made holy the Kodesh Kodeshim, he made it holy forever till Mashiach comes. Lefichoch zog der Rambam in halacha tezvov, makrivin hakorbones kulon afal pi she'ein shom bayis bonoi. You can make a korban there, and you can eat kodshim kalim and meiser sheni. Kos kedusha rishoino kitchol eshaito kitchol osid lovein. It still has kedusha. I remember as a young child, about 7 years old, and Rabbi Tzal Zulti from Yerushalayim, the chief rabbi, came to visit Montreal, and he was speaking then about the chutzpah, what he said, the chutzpah for Rabbi Goren, to go blow a shofar on the Har HaBayis. And I remember him screaming these words, Kedusha rishoino kitchel eshaito kitchel osid lovei. Even though that the Ravid says that there's no Kedusha there, but we pass on like the Rambam. There is Kedusha there. The Ravid says very strong words that Soid Hashem lireov, that there's no Kedusha there. Very interesting. Zog der Rambam weiter. The Rambam paskin that the Kedusha for Yerushalayim is still there. Frag der Rambam lochet hazayin. V'lo mani eime b'mikdash for Yerushalayim shekedusha she'en kedushasan la'osidon. O b'kedushas shar Eretz Yisrael linyan shvis u'maisis, we don't say kitchel lovei. So the Rambam is masbid. The Kedusha of Yerushalayim and the Kedusha of Mokem HaMikdash comes because the Shechina. And the Shechina never left Yerushalayim. Like it says, V'hashimoisi Mikdash Seichem. Zog the Gemara, Afal Pi Sheshoyim Im Kedushasan Ein Emdim. The Shechina is fully there, so the Kedusha is there. Because the Kedusha names sich from the Shechina, and the Shechina never left. Because the Yeshua conquered it. Once Nebuchadnezzar came and destroyed the first Beis Hamikdash, Botel HaKibush, V'niftera min HaTeira, min HaMaisis, min HaShvis, Sharei Eina Eretz Yisrael. Once Nebuchadnezzar came, destroyed Kibush Yeshua, there's no Kedushas Aretz. Kivon she'olo Ezra v'kitsha. But Ezra was Mekadesh, Eretz Yisrael a second time. There's Oile Bovel and Oile Ezra. Oile Ezra came, like Kitsha b'kibush al b'chazok esher zikubo. Therefore, wherever Oile Bovel were Mekadesh, it's Kodesh, Mekudushas Ezra. And it's Mekudesh today. And even if the Eretz Yisrael was taken away from us, Chayovois, B'shvis, U'v'maisris, in the part of Eretz Yisrael that Eli Bavel conquered, which is smaller significantly from Eli Mitzrayim. Al derech shebiyarnu b'hilchos Truma. So the Kesef Mishnah asks a question: why is the kibush from Yeshua destroyed by the kibush from Nebuchadnezzar, and the Chazaka from Ezra is not destroyed by the kibush from Titus HaRosh, who destroyed the Beis Hamikdash? And like the Kesef Mishnah puts it, the Yidden by Yeshua also made a kibush. So Kibush with chazaka is weaker than chazaka without kibush. Why do we say the kedusha doesn't leave? What's wrong with the kibush? If it's any tzorich, he remains by tzorich. Ali mifarshim mutzen sich mit them. There's a beautiful Sam Sefer. Sam Sefer in Yeridea Shuver Eish Lamed Gimel says like this. Nebuchadnezzar had reshus to be Kevish Eretz Yisrael. Since he had reshus to be Kevish Eretz Yisrael, his kibush was Kana and took it away from the Yidden. But Titus Rasha, even though Daniel saw it in this prophecy that there'll be Titus Rasha, there'll be Golus Bovel, but they didn't have they didn't have that special permission from the Rebbeinu. There's a fascinating pasuk where the pasuk says, "Ve'avdi Nebuchadnezzar, my servant Nebuchadnezzar, Dover Pella." But he was called by Hashem to do it, but Titus didn't have that special permission, so he wasn't kohenet. The Rebbe in Likutei Sichos says that the beard of Sam Sefer liegt nicht in der Werte von Rambam. Because the Rambam says that this was kibush and this was chazaka. The Rambam should have said this was kibush Nebuchadnezzar that was al pi hadibur, and this was kibush Titus that was shalei al pi hadibur. If that's pshat in Rambam. And the Rebbe learns based on a beautiful Rogatchover that we'll mention a little later. The Rebbe learns that there's two Gedorim in Eretz Yisrael. There is the Kedusha from Eretz Yisrael, and then there's the Bailis. The Bailis from Eretz Yisrael is forever. But the Eibishter said the way there should be triggered the Kedusha Sa'aretz the first time is through Kibush. The moment the Kibush is gone, the Kedusha is gone, even though the Bailis is still there. But the Bailis of Eretz Yisrael, that in itself, that triggered the Kedusha Shniyah. Since that triggered the second Kedusha, and the Bailis never changes, the Kedusha never changes. And the Eibishter says, just go back to your land. And that was Mekadesh it. And it's explained, the Rogatchover says, sometimes the Eibishter told Avram, Lizarachonosati, I gave it already. And sometimes the Eibishter says, Etneno, I will give it. The first Kedusha of Yeshua says the Loshen Etneno, I will give it because there'll have to be a kibush. That's the kibush of tzaddikim of Yeshua. The kibush from Ezra is Bali Tshuva. On them it says, since also the whole Bris Ben Absorim was a chait, in a sense, Avram asked, B'mo'eda Kiroshena. So the Bris Ben Absorim is connected with the second Beis Hamikdash. That's why it says there the Loshen Lazarachonosati, because the Bailis was always there. but the kibush wasn't. The Rebbe explains it al Chassidus that the kibush, there is two inyonim. The Yidden were in a much greater maimed umatzav by the first Beis Hamikdash. But that was the Rebbe speaks many times, and the that was milmayla lamata was a greater, powerful air. Once the air stopped milmayla, the kedusha stopped. But the second Beis Hamikdash was Avedas HaTshuva, and Avedas HaTshuva is milmata lamayla. It's a lower madrega, but the mata is transformed. And since he's transformed through his Aveda, the Kedusha never changes. So the question of the Kesef Mishnah is answered. The idea is how the Eibishter made the Kedusha, how the Eibishter wanted the Kedusha so it should be chal. By kibush or by just living there. And the Kedusha so Ezra was very difficult. Like it says, if you look at Tanakh and the Pasuk in Nehemiah, they were building on one hand a hammer, and on one hand a roimach and a cherev to fight off the enemies. It was difficult. It was Avedas HaTshuva. That's where the Eliezer, they did it on their own, without the big that shined in the Beis Rishon. And Bisman Yeshua, the great Nisim of the Yarden, they didn't have that but nevertheless, it was a everlasting kedusha. And according to the Rambam, Shvius Bisman Hazeh, in the area of Oile, Ezra, he has a chiyuv deiraisa. That's why many are machmid in the laws of Shemitah, and they don't rely on a heter mechira. The way the Rebbe finishes, that this shows that the Biles of Eretz Yisrael is always, the Rebbe always would say, Eretz Yisrael is an everlasting gift by an everlasting God, an everlasting people. And the Kedusha of Tshuva, our Aveda on our own, causes the biggest revelation, the everlasting relations. Have a wonderful day.